This is the story of how I made my short film, Rocket Rider. Making it has been a steep learning curve and taught me skills I never thought I'd master. But its origins start with another film project.
This is the Crash Spitfire set. It really is mind-blowing how good this is.
But that all ended in failure 5 years ago, in 2011.
Well, it's 3 days before our shoot, and I've just been shafted by one of our suppliers.
After the failure of my short film Doppelgänger in 2011, I began to examine what went wrong. By spring 2012, I finally realised that the project had got totally out of control. I've been held to ransom by my overexcited imagination. Sure, it's a good script, but it's too ambitious for a first-time, self-funded director. In my script, the evidence is plain to see. I have a tornado cockpit, an ejection seat, a platoon of German soldiers, a crashed Spitfire in a foreign country, expensive props, vintage and custom-made costumes, and extensive VFX, including many scenes with a doppelganger. Nothing will be simple to film. I also need a big crew and a lot of money, and I have neither. I decide to scale everything back, pick a self-contained sequence, and make it entirely on my own. And one part of the script, more than any other, fits the bill. The ejection sequence.
It's a very good area just to focus my thoughts on, and I think it's going to be a 3 to 5 minute sequence in its own right, called Rocket Rider, which will make a very interesting short film. It should be very visual anyway.
But this time, instead of hiring an ejection seat, I'm going to buy my very own.
Early January time, I just started scouring Britain for an ejector seat. And eventually I found a very good Mark 10. That's been the beginning of the next phase of the film.
Ross. It's our Mark 10, Martin Baker ejection seat from a Tornado. It's a pretty cool bit of kit, but it's extremely heavy. There we have all the harness. Just in really, really, really good nick.
All I need to do now is understand how the seat works.
This is our makeshift blue screen studio.
Full of renewed enthusiasm, I begin camera tests using my old Canon 7D. My wife Zoe volunteers to help.
Saturday night, can't think of anything better.
Having spent a small fortune on authentic RAF flying gear and my very own budget filming equipment, the purpose of the test is to see how well the costumes key on blue and green backgrounds.
It keyed okay actually. I think one of the reasons is that obviously having a flying suit on, you've got a helmet, so there are no fine hair detail to key around.
For a previs test, the quality of the composite from a Canon 7D is fine, but under closer scrutiny, the matte is noisy and has jagged edges. The test proves I need to shoot my final film on a higher quality camera. Another discovery is that I need to film the green RAF clothing on a blue background. But if I decide to make Doppelgänger later, I'll need to film the blue costumes on green, making the compositing work on that film even more complicated.
Maverick himself.
Rigging and filming this simple test over the weekend has taught me a lot.
What? Can't hear anything.
No.
But it's also been an exhausting exercise. Back home in London, Using the footage I shot on the camera test, I start learning how to match move. My first results are crude. I've got a lot to learn. Another crucial part of the story is a frozen bullet time shot. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but I still haven't a clue how to create it with basic equipment. So I start filming some simple tests at home.
One option I'm investigating at the moment is not actually filming the ejection in live action, but actually filming it in stop motion so that I can actually create the movement of speed much more easier.
Initial stop motion tests prove the theory works. So a few weeks later, I repeat the test again. This time with the ejection seat, marking the intervals with a tape measure. The results work, and to make my life simpler, I changed the story from a 2-seat Tornado to a single-seat Eurofighter Typhoon. "2013 was a year of preparation and learning new VFX skills. I also spent a lot of time editing TV programs, but new knowledge gained on those shows also helped with the development of my film. Dark Matters was filmed entirely on green screen, and I learnt useful post-production workflows. Pompeii, the Mystery of the People Frozen in Time, had extensive CGI sequences which began life as storyboards. Chatting to the VFX house about particles and plate shots taught me a lot. We also moved out of London and focused our efforts on updating a Victorian townhouse. Now living outside London, I hope I can finally make Rocket Rider. I begin the search to find a building suitable to build my own blue screen studio. I buy the camera that I'll film it on. And fine-tuning my script, I changed the aircraft featured in my story to the F-35 Lightning Mark II. After a long search, I find a large, empty barn. With its smooth floor, it'll make a great film studio. But first, I have to build my F-35 cockpit set. With no prior experience in set building, I make it up as I go along. A relative, Don Farrell, helped me solve another problem. He built a special cart and bracket to allow the seat to spin 360 degrees. The bracket will also support the ejection seat in the cockpit.
The amount of time it's taken to build this has been unbelievable, and everything, all the measurements, have all been taken from these two photographs. Everything's been done with guesswork and just kind of sitting in the ejector seat and kind of working out what would be a natural reach of a pilot. And a few times I've got the measurements completely wrong. But I think once these last panels are done, the end is in sight.
The ejection seat is the main element of the set and also the story. It's a Martin Baker Mark X, which came out of a Tornado flight simulator.
We've stuck with the Mark 10 ejector seat because mainly it's the only seat we can get, and even getting this seat has been a huge challenge. I know people will say factually it's not right for the story, but it was the only way we could make the film.
Unlike the ejection seat on display at RAF Hendon, one crucial part of my seat is missing: the rocket pack. Normally packed with solid rocket fuel and designed to blast the pilot out of the cockpit, they are as rare as hen's teeth. So using it as reference, I build my own. Finally, the cockpit structure is complete, but it's taken much longer than I thought. I have to abandon the set build and head back to London to edit a TV show. The Unexplained Files. As I edit stories about unidentified flying objects in London, I face an unexpected problem back home. The summer harvest. To store his grain, the farmer needs my set removed from his barn. With no other option, I have to evacuate my equipment and move the whole set to my backyard. With the edit now over, I return home to build the control panels. The cockpit is starting to look real. Now I just need one more crucial element: an actor. With Tom busy with his rising career in London and the complexity of the start-stop shoot, unfortunately he's out of the picture. To get up to speed quickly, I even consider using a mannequin to test a bullet time sequence. But that idea is quickly rejected as it will be too limiting, too creepy, and make the film one-dimensional. So I begin looking for a local actor. Eventually, I discover Stephen Michael Critchley. After a quick screen test and costume fitting, I offer him the role. With no studio space available, I decide to chance my luck and film a screen test outside. It's a good way to test the set, Stephen, and the costumes.
Speed.
Controlling the light is a massive struggle, and the day is cut short with an unexpected rainstorm, which damages the set. It also highlights a huge technical problem. Even though having the visor down is more realistic, the visor acts as a massive mirror, reflecting almost 180 degrees behind the camera. I tried to map the helmet visor with CGI, but though it's possible if you build the reflections in virtual reality, it's a step too far for me. In future, I'll opt for the easier solution: film with the visor up and covered. Ultimately, for the purpose of storytelling, we need to see the actor's eyes anyway. As I head off to France on a family holiday, I begin to question if I can even make this film. To control the light, I need to move the cockpit indoors, but I only have 3 weeks before I leave for London to start a new edit. I need to find a studio and film Rocket Rider fast. Time is ticking. In the next episode, in total desperation, I begin filming in the smallest blue screen studio ever.
Action.
The mammoth task of creating the film's visual effects begins. And finally, Rocket Rider is ready to be released.
Why do all edits finish in the middle of the night? That is the question.